everyone, it's me, Katie-Beth again. And one of the things I do is just all the time thinking of all the problems I have and things to make life easier. And when I go to craft fairs, I just have so much stuff that I want or need, but really I just want to take with me. And my car is small. I have an SUV, people call it, but it's like the smallest possible one you can. It's actually the same length as my old Mini Cooper used to be, so it's not very big at all. And I need more space, but my car isn't rated to tow a trailer, so the next best option I thought of is just getting a roof rack. And I priced those out, and those are pretty pricey to get, official, nice, built-in, permanent ones. But Amazon does sell temporary ones that you can, take off and put back on when you travel and whatnot. So I thought I'd try one of those. And also because my car is so small, it turned out to be pretty hard to find one that would fit my car. But eventually I found, universal ones that said that they would work for my car on Amazon. And the main roof rack was on, super sale. So I was like, yes, I'll take that. And then the actual, cage rack that goes on top, I bought one of those too. So let me get to unboxing these and showing you how they worked out. So they did come a day apart of each other, but here they are together. They're both pretty big boxes. So the sports rack, when I open it up, this is what you get. I took out all the pieces. And here are the directions. I'll do a little screenshot so anyone can look at them if they just want to see what the directions were if you've lost your own directions. And then this is just me taking all the pieces apart so I can see everything that it has. So the main rack thing, this is what the ends look like. But some of my ends had fallen apart in mail, I guess. So it wasn't completely together. So you just slide it right back on if it happens to you. So this is what a rack looks like when it's put together without the feet. And this is the part that will stick to the sides of your car. Like the hook. And this is what it looks like when you put it together. I was just trying them out before I actually try to stick them on my car. And these long accordion things, you do need to cut down to size. You'll find out later when I show you. And then I was deciding how to put the foot on. Because you can put it on two separate ways, and that'll determine if it's a longer or shorter rack, long-wise. So you're going to need to unscrew the nut that's on that screw. And then you put down this little piece of rubber padding. And you put it so that the nut or the screw still goes through. And then screw on the nut. And that kind of gives it some mobility but keeps it in place. And then you put over the pad of the foot. It's a little hard to do with one hand. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is just it on. And then I was just kind of testing how this would go in. You need to put it in until you get it out on your car. I was just kind of trying it out. And then this is the key section. And I'm seeing what the key does exactly. So this is what it looks like when you kind of take it apart. Okay, now that I got that all taken care of, let's go out and see my car. So I do need to wash my car just to get all the dust off. And this, has anyone noticed this on your car? I'm never up there, so I never notice. And then also, my car is sunburnt. The paint's fading off, and I had no idea. Okay, so I used a microfiber cloth, got all the dust off, and then look at these hooks. The hooks do kind of interfere with your door lining, and it does make a sound while you're driving. So if you're sensitive to sounds. So these are the two type of hooks. The package does give you two hooks to pick from. There's one that's more rounded and then one that has that little lip underneath. But they both just curve over. This is what it looks like. And then you just ratchet it down from the key holder. And as you can see, the accordion part got all jumbled up. So you do need to cut that down. I was hoping it would just accordion well, and it doesn't. And you pull up on this black part to get the hook out. And so this is what it looks like. It's just long. Got my scissors out because I do need to cut that down. You also have to be mindful of the way that the teeth are going on this ratcheting thing. I don't exactly remember, but I remember it was an issue that the teeth had to be the right way. And then see, I cut it down a little bit, the accordion. And this was my trial to see if everything was on okay before I completely ratchet everything down. Now look at this accordion cover. It still needed to be trimmed down more than that, but at least it was more out of the way than it originally was. So I did do a trial of putting the feet on the longer or shorter way and using both hooks to see which hooks worked best on my car. I actually liked this one with the little lip on it and making the feet longer. So it was longer on my car, so closer to the doors, and these feet grabbed more. So these feet worked best if it was on the shorter way that the feet could be. And even though I know the door doesn't hold it on at all, I feel like this little lip gives it somewhat more support, that it's at least catching on the door a little, maybe. And I didn't like the way that this type of hook had more contact with my car to scratch it up. Just wasn't a fan. So this is what it ended up looking like when I got it all ratcheted down, and I did have my roommate's help. It's super hard to ratchet it down when you're by yourself. It's easier with one person on either side of the car. And I did drive around with it on my car for a few days before putting the actual, big cage rack on the top. I also wanted to test it with my window open on the roof. So you also kind of have to care about placement, I found out. As you can see, as our first trial, I had put it directly down the middle of my roof, so if I ever wanted to climb out, it'd pretty much be a no-go. I would not fit through that tiny section. So after a few days, I decided to actually open up the actual roof rack and put it together. So here's the box of hardware and the instructions that it came with, and let me just do a little screenshot in case you're just here to see what the original directions were. So these are the pieces that it comes with, and you just kind of put them together, but before you completely put them together, make sure to open up all of your hardware so you can see what you have. Namely, these little pigs in a blanket, you have to completely take them apart. It's weird that they're packaged that way, but you need to take these rubbers off. And then the little screws you save and put to the side because you're going to use them to make a completely another screw. So you put all these things together, and that's going to go with these hooks later when you get outside. And here you'll notice that my cage was kind of scratched up already, but I figured, it's gonna get jacked up when I have craft boxes up there. But also notice on this side, this is where you connect the two, and don't connect the two until you wait and get the little rubbers on them. I didn't record it, but that is probably the hardest part, was trying to squeeze the little rubbers on before you connect the two so that it can go over and make that sealant around the joint. And also, you're going to take these screws and washers, and that's how you actually make sure everything stays together. Just screw and washer those. And this is what it looks like after I put it up. This was my trial run of my first craft fair that I used this roof rack. So I'm going to be driving about 30 miles an hour the entire way, which is why I wanted to leave so early. My car's pretty packed. Not as organized as I would have hoped either. So this is what the roof rack looked like. That first time I did drive with it open so that I could watch and keep an eye out for it. And also it does make a bit of a wind sound that comes from that roof window. And I did make it to the craft fair perfectly without anything falling off, but that was kind of on a wing and a prayer because when I opened the door, it came right off. This is how I found out that you really need to weigh it down, put all your stuff in it, and then ratchet it shut. Otherwise, they just kind of come loose. And to make it home, I had to use my fist as a hammer and hammer that down because I forgot the key to loosen it and re-ratchet it. But I did make it home safely. And another tip is to use a little step stool because otherwise I can't get things up there because I'm too short. Now, I didn't show this earlier, but this is what the top of the car looks like with the roof rack on it. And these are the little U's that you kind of use to screw them on and make sure it stays up there on the roof okay. And they are adjustable, so you can put them pretty much wherever they fit. And here's showing that accordion rubber part. I pretty much ended up having to cut it down really short just so it would fit better. This was a thing. You don't want to move your roof rack around too much, so it's not that reusable if you're going to take it on and off your roof because it really jacks up the teeth. And it could be because I used the teeth the wrong way the first time around, but it made me not want to remove and unremove it all the time, and so now I pretty much just live with it up there on my car. And when you take it off, you'll find that it does a little bit scratch and scuff your car up. Like, that's a scuff. It'll come off. The first one was a scratch. And as you can see here, there's another scratch, just right there. And let me show you how I take this off. And the dirt really just gathers right around it. So it's a reason why you might want to take it off your car so it doesn't mess up your car, but the paint's already coming off. I did report the teeth messing up and how unsafe that made me feel to Amazon, and they did send me a new roof rack, not just more of these teeth things. Because I put that back up there, and that's pretty much the one that's been up there for the last, 4 months. And I have been using it every month for craft fair, and it's held up pretty well. It does still sometimes pop up on the side, and I just hammer it down. I did, however, see an actual brand name Toyota one when I was at Target, and as you can see, it still comes up on the side. However, they do have the brand name nice covers on there, so no one sees that. But if it's still gonna pop up, I feel pretty good about the cheaper price that I paid. And because of the cover, you can't even, hammer it down because it's covering it. So that seems more dangerous. So far, I really love this rack. I didn't like it at first, but now I'm loving it. The trick did seem to be you have to put a bunch of weight on it first to get these to stick on. If you put it on normal and then put heavy stuff in it, they'll come undone. So weigh it down and then lock them on. This one today did pop up, but I just hammered it back down and it's good again, I hope. So overall, I am super happy that I bought them. They do still have some issues. Since I don't want to take them on and off all the time, I'm just every once in a while banging them back on. But it really did work the best that after I put all the weight on them, then tightening it down. And they suction on a little better that way. But overall, I didn't pay a bad price, and I'm pretty happy I have it so I can take more stuff with me to the craft fair. Everyone's always commenting how amazing it is that I can Mary Poppins bag my car, which is way more stuff fits in it than looks like it would. I hope this was helpful to at least one person, or at least somewhat entertaining, and has some value out there. If you got anything out of it, please comment below and let me know what it was to help my self-esteem out. And if you're like, hey, not so helpful, put that down there too. I learn from everything. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for spending your time with me and hanging out here. And have a great rest of your weekend, or week, depending on when you're watching this. Bye, everyone.